What's up, everybody? It's Jared with Capture the Magic. And when it comes to Universal, there's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of rumors out there. Of course, we have Rip Ride Rocket that is being torn down and being replaced with an unnamed attraction coming in there. But one of the questions that really has lingered about Universal Studios is, what is the future of the Simpsons area? Of course, the long rumor there was that Pokemon was going to be coming in there, but that one may or may not be happening. Where the Simpsons currently are, that contract is up in 2028. And of course, Disney now owns the Simpsons. So what is the future of this? Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit here, including the showrunner for the Simpsons claiming that removing the Simpsons from Universal would destroy them, which is one of the more outlandish claims I have heard regarding just about any theme park out there. And also, is Disney going to end up putting The Simpsons into their parks? As there is some evidence that Disney is at least thinking about doing this. So we're going to take a look at all this, get some thoughts on it, and see if maybe we can figure all this out. I don't know. We'll see what we can do. So this article is from WDWNT. Again, it says the headline, "It would destroy them," says showrunner on Simpsons removal from Universal Parks. The Simpsons co-showrunner Matt Selman has addressed the rumors that Springfield will be removed from the Universal theme parks following Disney acquiring the show. Selman recently sat down with Entertainment Weekly to comment on the rumors that the Simpsons could be moving out of the Universal theme parks, namely Universal Studios Florida and Hollywood, after Disney acquired 20th Century Fox in 2019. In addition to having worked on the animated series since 1997, Selman was involved in the creation of the Simpsons ride, which first opened in 2008, and he is the one to blame for Back to the Future going away. I'm not kidding, it's not his fault, but I don't like the Simpsons ride. I liked it much better when it was Back to the Future, but I digress. When Disney purchased 20th Century Fox and acquired The Simpsons, Universal said the deal would have, quote, "no impact on our ride or our guest experience." Universal's contract allowing them to use The Simpsons is reported to last 20 years, meaning it could end in 2028, which I do believe that is accurate. Rumors began swirling of a larger Simpsons presence at Disney theme parks after the company sent out a guest survey last December about new lands, attractions, or character meet and greets for The Simpsons. And in that survey, Disney asked a few questions, and this is from Drew Smith on Twitter X. It says, in a new survey, Disney asked guests about the Walt Disney Company's brands, franchises, and offerings, including The Simpsons. The answers include character meet and greets at the theme parks and new lands or attractions at the Disney theme parks. So that, of course, is just a survey, but it does show you that Disney is at least poking around, thinking about would they utilize The Simpsons in their theme parks. The current Springfield areas both include a version of the Simpsons ride, as well as some famous in-universe restaurants such as Krusty Burger and Lard Lad Donuts. The Universal Studios Florida area has an additional attraction called Kang and Kudos Twirl and Hurl, which is just basically like a Dumbo spinning ride. Selman noted that he has no inside information on Universal's current plans for The Simpsons. He says, quote, "I don't have any inside information, so I'm just a fan. This is not an official announcement. I'm not party to those negotiations. However," he specifically mentioned, "I would personally be shocked if The Simpsons did not continue at Universal." So, of course, he's going to have that viewpoint. I mean, that's not to be unexpected necessarily. Says, with regard to the Hollywood location, Selman also added he can't imagine what Universal would use to replace The Simpsons. He says, think about it. What would you put there? They have to close it, shut it down for what, 2 years, and build another area right in the middle of Universal. I was just there. They're building a giant Fast and Furious outdoor roller coaster right there, and they just built all this Mario stuff. Like, how would they? It would destroy them. Though he's talking about Universal Hollywood. I think the idea that taking out The Simpsons is like the most vital thing to Universal Studios experience is, again, I'm sure he has an inflated view of The Simpsons, but that's a very wild statement to make, considering two of the biggest things that Universal has going for them is the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and also Nintendo that they're putting into the theme parks. And they're building a brand new roller coaster like he mentioned, but The Simpsons is not something that, like, if it went away, I mean, it has its fan base. People do enjoy it, but it's not as if taking out The Simpsons is going to destroy Universal, considering they have lots of options they could put in there. He's saying, what would they put in there? I mean, you've got Pokemon, you've got other Nintendo properties, you have a slew of things that Universal could either make deals with as they work with third parties, stuff all the time that they don't directly own, or their own IPs. Like, there's tons of things that you could put into the Simpsons area. So obviously, I don't think he knows a lot about the inner workings of, Universal and just theme parks in general. Selman explains further that removing The Simpsons does not seem logical to me, and that Universal making that decision would be short-sighted. He really is talking a lot about this in this interview. He goes on to praise areas themed to The Simpsons, saying The Simpsons ride, even though its technology is 20 years old, is great. I will disagree wholeheartedly. That ride is not good. I've ridden it twice. At least in my opinion, I don't think it's a great ride. It's typically a very low wait time. And it's, what used to be there was Back to the Future, which was a much better attraction. And also, fans have kind of gotten to this point, too, with simulators and screen-based attractions, at least how they were in the 80s and 90s. I think audiences are well past wanting that type of experience. And The Simpsons is just that. It's just a basic thing that you have seen in the 90s repeatedly, especially a lot at Universal Studios. So I don't think it's a great ride by any means. The inline experience is funny. People ride it again and again. Do they? The Springfield food court is amazing. Cletus's fried chicken on the bone is so good. The Krusty Burger is so good. The branding and level of Springfield's specificity is fantastic. Now, I will give him that. The theming of the land is very good for The Simpsons. It's very well done. It's like you're walking into a real-life cartoon of The Simpsons. I'm personally not a huge fan of The Simpsons, nor have I ever really been a huge fan of The Simpsons. But in terms of that, I can agree with that much. The rest of it, I've never been too impressed with the food in the Simpsons area. It's okay, but I think it had a lot more potential than what they have really utilized it on. But that was also a time before Universal has really kicked into high gear like they are now. I think if today they were to do a Simpsons land like from scratch, I think it would be a much different land, like a much better land, but that was under different ownership at the time, I do believe. He specifically calls out the giant donut sold at Lard Lad, of which he says nothing is printing more money.
What did you say?
The idea that The Simpsons is the biggest moneymaker for Universal Studios from a food and or merchandise standpoint, that's just insane to say. I mean, you have the Wizarding Worlds, which you have the wands and the merchandise. You also have the food and the butterbeer. You're talking about Nintendo. I mean, Nintendo stuff sells like crazy, especially at Epic Universe. I mean, this statement here, I don't even know where The Simpsons ranks. I would probably argue Back to the Future, Jaws, some of the nostalgia stuff that they have in the parks probably sells better than The Simpsons does, especially Lard Lad donuts. Like, I do see people walking around with the big donuts, and donuts are, everybody likes a donut for the most part, but to act like Lard Lad Donuts is like the biggest moneymaker for Universal Studios is, I'll just say that's quite a statement. In one more parting remark, Selman mentioned that he finds it insane that The Simpsons has never been given the Hollywood Horror Nights treatment. However, it is insane that they never Treehouse of Horrified Universal for Halloween Horror Nights. Why we didn't spookify it when Treehouse of Horror is like our main most beloved thing. That seems like someone dropped the ball, possibly me. Well, I would say if Universal wanted to do that, they probably would have talked to you. And Treehouse of Horror, like that is one of the things that is popular with The Simpsons, but that does not fit into the Halloween Horror Nights overall vibe of, cartoony, commentary on pop culture. That's really not what fits into what Halloween Horror Nights is. So, I think it would be interesting to see that. That's not a terrible idea. Now, I think at this point with The Simpsons waning out of Universal Studios, I don't believe we're going to see that, but I don't really think that's been up to him, because I think if Universal wanted to do that, they probably would have said, hey, we're looking at doing this, and who knows if they even would do it. I mean, obviously now I don't think they would, given you'd have to get permission from 20th Century Fox, who is owned by Disney. So I don't think that's something that would be happening, even if Universal maintained the Simpsons rights. In other recent updates, a new Simpsons movie has been officially announced and will premiere in 2027, taking over a release date that was originally reserved for Disney for an unnamed Marvel film. Obviously, those are a lot of statements by somebody who is very pro The Simpsons, being a co-showrunner, not knowing a lot about theme park stuff and operations. making some interesting claims. And obviously, most of those I completely disagree with. I think The Simpsons is an okay area of the park, but The Simpsons as a whole is not what it once was. So if you look at the actual viewership of The Simpsons over the last few years, back in 2013, which has been their 25th season, so that's how long this show has been going on, it averaged about 5.66 million viewers per episode. In 2022 through 2023, it averaged about 2.1 million viewers per episode. And in 2023 and 2024, The Simpsons averaged about 1.99 million viewers per episode. So it is fallen off drastically, even in the last 10 years of its viewership. And it's something that even culturally isn't as relevant nearly as much as it was. I mean, it is a show that's been around for a long time. It'll probably always have some sort of cultural relevance, given how long the show has gone on for, and a lot of stuff about The Simpsons predicting future events and things like that. But the idea that The Simpsons is absolutely vital to what Universal Studios does and will do in the future, I'll just say I completely disagree with. I think you could get rid of The Simpsons tomorrow, and I don't think most people would be that upset by it. I understand some people would. Some people do enjoy it, but I think in general, more people are excited for Wizarding World and Nintendo properties and, How to Train Your Dragon, like stuff going on at Epic Universe. I think there's other things that are a bigger draw than The Simpsons in the Universal Studios parks. And if you look at this, that contract coming up in 2028, the real big question there is, of course, does Universal want to renew that contract? So that's the first part of it. The second part of it is, even if Universal wanted to renew it, would Disney allow them to renew it now that they control The Simpsons? And you already, like we talked about, Disney has sent out surveys asking people about Simpsons in their theme parks. And even if Disney wasn't going to utilize The Simpsons now or ever, Disney also likes to control their IPs. And so I could see a scenario where even if Disney wasn't going to use it, they want control of their IP and not in their biggest competitors' theme parks. Now, granted, Disney makes money off of The Simpsons being in the Universal Studios parks. They're going to cut off the merchandise and, there's royalties, all sorts of things. So they do make some money off of it. But just from a brand standpoint, Disney is a control freak. They like to control the stuff that they own. So even if Universal wanted to renew this contract, which there has been a rumor out there that Universal has extended this contract, that came from one source. I have found nothing to back that up outside of the one person saying that. So I don't believe that is something that has happened or is likely to happen, in my opinion. But again, I'm just giving my speculation on that end of things. But even if Universal wanted to extend it, I'm not really convinced Disney would be okay with that. And then again, you could take The Simpsons and you could do meet and greets at the very least. I could see in Disney World, Hollywood Studios, you could throw in a Simpsons meet and greet area. It would fit in there. You could also see Disney utilize The Simpsons along with, say, Bob's Burgers or Family Guy, as they do have some of these, adult-oriented cartoons out there that are in line with The Simpsons. But I don't think The Simpsons is a really big enough draw on its own to make much of a difference. I don't think it would be something that, whether it's Universal or Disney, I don't think people are booking trips solely to go check out the Simpsons areas of either of those parks if it existed in the Disney parks. But even if Disney wanted to use it, they're not going to build a land like what Universal has done. And now Simpsons is synonymous with Universal Studios, as it's been in the Universal parks for a while now. So even if Disney wanted to use it, they probably wouldn't use it anytime soon. It might just be meet and greets, but in the future, I suppose they could. But I also don't think The Simpsons is going to continue to gain in popularity. I think it's going to continue just to wane and just lose its audience as time goes on, as the show has been running for 30 some odd years now. And I don't really think there's going to be a massive revival of the show anytime soon. Of course, you do have the movie coming out, which again makes me think that Disney is going to want to control that, because I don't really think that they're going to have the Simpsons movie come out and then people see the Simpsons movie potentially and then want to go over to Universal Studios. I think Disney would like people to go see the Simpsons movie and then go to the Disney parks to, at the very least, check out a meet and greet or something small that they may have going on that can utilize the advertising and awareness of the Simpsons movie. So I think more than likely The Simpsons is going to go away at Universal Studios. The big rumor there for the longest time has been that Pokemon would go into the Simpsons area. And what I have heard recently, there's a strong possibility that Pokemon ends up going in to take over the Lost Continent area. And that leaves a lot of question marks about what would they use in the Simpsons area? What would they replace it with? I don't know, but it's a decent amount of space right there. You also have Men in Black that they could eat up into that would give you a lot of space to do something. So I think Universal, given how aggressive they are currently being and will continue to be in this coming decade, Mark Woodbury has already stated there are multiple things coming to Universal Studios Islands of Adventure and Epic Universe. I think it gives them a lot of real estate in a park, Universal Studios, that does need some updating, especially in this area of the park, as well as Islands of Adventure, of course, is going to have something happening with Lost Continent. And then you could also see some other areas of Islands of Adventure getting some updating. So I think personally Universal is ready to move on from The Simpsons. I think Disney also wants their IP in their own possession to be able to do with it what they would like to. Just in case The Simpsons movie catches fire or The Simpsons has a revival, you have it in your arsenal where you can utilize it in your parks. I think that makes a lot of sense if you're Disney, and I think that makes a lot of sense if you're Universal, that you want to move on from this, because not only The Simpsons is waning in popularity, but again, Disney controls it, and you don't really want to rely on this, that your biggest competitor also owns another thing that's in your park. And then Universal builds something in its place here that has a bigger demand, that is going to be an actual draw to their parks, where The Simpsons right now, perhaps at one point it was a bigger draw, but I don't think right now it is a very big draw for people that are looking to book Universal Studios vacations. And I also don't think that Universal Studios would be destroyed by getting rid of The Simpsons or anything to do with The Simpsons, like the co-showrunner here is, suggesting about this. But of course, he's coming from this from a very pro-Simpsons point of view, so it's not too surprising there. But I think realistically, that's probably what will happen here. But of course, we'll find out pretty soon. Again, we're getting toward the end of 2026. Universal could potentially go ahead and do something with that land sooner than 2028 to start work on it to get something there, or they could just keep it until the contract runs out and then do something with it after they've done more construction around some of the other areas of the theme parks. We'll have to wait and see on what they do here, but that's just my take. We'll see what happens. But either way, that's going to be it, though, for this video. So if you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, do you think that Universal wants to keep The Simpsons? And do you think that Disney would let them if they wanted to? Or would Disney want to retain control of it? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.